You know, by selecting the wrong financial advisor, it could cost you or your family tens of thousands of dollars. So you want to select a financial advisor, but you're not sure what to look for. We're going to share some tips and tricks on how to select the right financial advisor. But before we get into that, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you enjoyed the video, click the thumbs up button, give us a like, and make sure you share this video with your friends. Let's get into it.
He watches the markets.
In the great city of Memphis, Tennessee.
If they raise rates tomorrow, it could be a sign of confidence.
The financial advisor extraordinaire.
He's with McAdams Group.
Of course, Wall Street doesn't like rising interest rates.
And I know people from all over the Memphis area come to visit you for help with their RMD.
David McAdams is with us.
David McAdams.
David McAdams.
There are exceptions to the rule.
That's very interesting because that's kind of against conventional wisdom.
That's the insanity of it.
All right, so the first thing you want to look for when you're selecting a financial advisor, and this is a pretty common one, are they a fiduciary? Okay, what's the difference in a fiduciary and an advisor that's not a fiduciary? And by the way, even if they are a fiduciary, stay tuned for the rest of the video because at the very end of this video, I'm going to explain where your fiduciary might not be acting as fiduciary and how to spot that so you can make sure that you're working with a true fiduciary. But first, let's define fiduciary. Believe it or not, in this day and age, there are people in the financial services industry that have different types of licenses, okay? Some licenses do not require the financial advisor to put your interest first. You heard me right. I know it's crazy, it's bananas, but in this day and age, there is no law on the books that requires those people with those licenses to act in your best interest. In fact, they can act in their own best interest and put their best interest ahead of your interest. Doesn't that sound crazy? Okay, so a fiduciary is the opposite. A fiduciary actually has a legal obligation to put your interest ahead of their own interest. You know, kind of a simple way to think of like, what is a fiduciary? Here's the way I kind of think about it. You know, I work with my parents. Would I make a recommendation for my parents? And if yes, that's probably what you should be getting the same level of advice of what I would do for my own loved ones, okay? But fiduciary is legally required to put your interest ahead of their own interest. Now, a second thing you want to look for in a financial advisor is you want to look for the resources that they have at their disposal. And I want to talk about having a team approach because frankly, let's say you like your financial advisor, but maybe they're a one-person shop, they hung their shingle out, they're good at what they do, but they don't have a lot of support. What happens if they die? Okay, so at McAdams Group, we've develop what we call advisor teams. We actually have every client has multiple people that know what's going on with that client's age, health, income, expenses, risk profile, retirement dates, Social Security planning, pension planning, estate planning, and on and on and on. That's why the team approach is so much more valuable than just having one person know what's going on with your affairs. What if that person is out of town? What if they're in a car accident? What if you can't reach them? What if they die? The team approach is critical. Our clients actually have a dedicated client service representative and at least 2 advisors that know what's going on with their investments at all time. And in addition to that team approach, the tax planning, the estate planning, you know what? So many people that have come in to work with us over the years, they say, you know what? My tax person's over here, my estate planning attorney's over here, and then I have my financial advisor. We call that the 3 blind mice. Ask yourself a simple question. You tell me, when's the last time your tax person and your estate planning attorney and your financial advisor all got together as a team to make sure that all their planning was coordinating and working for you? If you have a financial advisor that's part of the 3 blind mice, instead of having a financial advisor that coordinates and ties everything, you might be working with the wrong advisor, or you might not want to select that advisor in the first place. Now, frankly, the McAdams Group, we don't have the three blind mice. Most of our clients like to know that we have everything under one roof. They like to do their income taxes with us, their investment planning with us, their estate planning. They like a coordinated approach. Now, another thing you want to make sure you're looking for when you're finding a financial advisor, you want to ask a simple question. Am I working with a specialist or am I working with a generalist? Think about it. Let's say you had some chest pain. Would you go to a podiatrist? Would you go to a dentist? Or would you go to a cardiologist? I mean, they're all in the medical field, right? They can all do something with healthcare, but they're very different, aren't they? If you have chest pain, you might need a specialist. In the investment world, there are generalists and there are specialists, and here's an easy way to find out. Here's how you know you're working with a generalist. Number one, do they use mutual funds? Do they use mutual funds? You know, mutual funds were created several decades ago, initially to allow small investors as a way to get into the stock market. You know, it was very expensive in 1945 to go into a big Wall Street firm and pay all these crazy commissions to buy and sell stocks, and maybe you only had $50. So they needed a way to make small investors easy to invest. They created mutual funds, but many of our clients are way past that. They've accumulated a nest egg. They have hundreds of thousands of dollars, sometimes millions of dollars. And if you're using mutual funds, you know, we call it the disease of ease. Do you know how hard it is to buy a mutual fund? Well, take out a sheet of paper and draw a box, and in the box, just put a little check mark. There, you did it. That's how hard it is for the financial advisor to buy a mutual fund. If your financial advisor is using mutual funds as an investment solution, you're probably working with a generalist and not a specialist. Another way to know that you're working with a generalist is you're probably paying something we call unnecessary fees. Now, this is a big topic. I'll probably do another entire video just breaking down unnecessary fees. But I'll give you a quick example because this topic is how to pick a financial advisor. Well, if you're paying 2 fees for one job, you're probably working with the wrong person. Think about this. Many of you have a brokerage account, and inside that brokerage account, you see that the financial advisor has several mutual funds. Some of them are stock mutual funds, some of them are bond mutual funds, some of it might be in some cash mutual funds called a money market fund. But you've got these different categories in your brokerage account. And then on your statement, there's something called an advisory fee. They're charging you a fee to advise and actively manage the account and select the funds and actively manage it. What does that mean, actively manage? Well, here's what's happening. Many of those advisors actually are not selecting those funds, and they're not actually selecting the investments in the funds. What they're basically doing is putting you in a mutual fund, and then the mutual fund company has a money manager or a management team that's actually selecting the investments. In fact, most advisors can't even tell you what the holdings are in the mutual funds they put you in. So they're effectively gambling in that regard, and you're gambling when you do that. They can't even tell you what the holdings are in the mutual funds. But here, it gets even worse. They're not managing the money, but they're charging you a fee. What other expense in your life do you pay 2 fees for one job? Think of it like this. You're driving down the road, your car sounds a little jinky. You pull into the shop and they say, you know what? Thanks for coming into the mechanic today. We're not actually going to do the repair. We're going to give your vehicle to those folks right across the street over there. They're going to do all the work. But we're both going to charge you for the repair. That's right. You're going to pay 2 fees for one job. Well, if you have mutual funds inside an advisory account and you're paying the financial advisor an advisory fee, you're paying 2 fees for 1 job. You're definitely working with a generalist, not a specialist. Yet another way to know if you're working with a generalist and not a specialist is, how are they getting you your money when you need a withdrawal? Where are they getting the money from? Are they taking from income, or are they selling shares? Are they cannibalizing your investments? Let me give you a simple example. Someone retires with a 401k. Maybe they've worked hard, they've accumulated, they've got $1 million in their 401k. They roll it into their IRA. They go into the generalist. He charges them 2 fees for 1 job. He puts them in the mutual funds. And now it comes time where you need income to live on. Well, guess what? Most financial advisors aren't investing you for true income because those mutual funds have little to no income in them. Think of it like 3 buckets. Bucket 1 is the cash or money market funds. And let's say you're taking out 4% of your nest egg. You've got $1 million and you need $40,000 a year. So you say, hey, send me $40,000 this year for my needs. Great, where are they getting the money from? If it's in the cash fund, it's paying you 0.1%, but it's even worse. They're charging a fee. So you're getting a negative return on the cash, and they're sending you your own cash. That's not income. Or they're in bucket number 2. Bucket number 2 would be a bond fund. Now we're going to do a whole video on the difference in a bond versus a bond fund, but many of you are in bond mutual funds. Here's the problem. Interest rates are low. Bonds pay interest. That's the income. Go look at your statement and you'll see over to the far right side, it'll say estimated income. And you'll see that bond fund's probably paying you 1, maybe 2% in interest. And on top of that, they could lose money. You could get a negative rate of return on the bond fund. And unfortunately, the generalist doesn't know how to get you income. They're going to use what we call the liquidation method. They're going to sell your shares and send you money by cannibalizing your assets. You never want to do this. Bucket 3 in that mutual fund portfolio is probably a stock fund. And unfortunately, these also pay very little and sometimes no income. And net of fees, you're getting a negative net income. Now, don't confuse growth with income. You might have been blessed enough to have your account go up in recent years. So when you sell the shares, you still have more than you started with. But all it takes is one recession to mess all that up. God forbid you retired in 1999. God forbid you retired in 2007. Because for those folks, the stock market went down over the next 2 to 3 years. And as they're selling shares, because their generalist doesn't specialize in income, they're selling shares and cannibalizing their investments. Many people, when the stock market was down 50% from 2000 to 2003, sadly, many retirees were down 70 to 80%. Think of having $1 million and 3 years waking up with $200,000 or $300,000, because as the stock market was falling and as the shares were going down in value, your well-meaning generalist was selling the shares, cannibalizing the shares to get the money in your bank account. A common way you can know if you're working with a generalist and not a specialist is, frankly, they don't know how to really invest for income. Now, we'll do a whole nother video just on how to find a specialist and how to truly invest for income. So make sure you subscribe to our channel. And again, make sure you click the like button, share this video with a friend. And by the way, at McAdams Group, we believe that the planning process should be simple, easy, inexpensive. Most of our clients want to decrease risk, decrease fees, increase safety, increase income. If those are your goals, we can help. Click on the link below, fill out the simple 60-second questionnaire, and you can get a complimentary appointment with one of our retirement specialists. And we can show you how to get true income and how to work with a fiduciary that has a team approach that specializes.